to bring a speaker, most powerful speaker to the stage. Her name is Miss Danielle McKnight. She is an amazing, talented artist, a professional tattooist, and has been in the career of being a tattoo artist for over 13 years. She hopes to be able to inspire people not only by their art, but by being able to tell her personal story. Wait till you hear her speak. She is so powerful. I can't wait for her to come up here. She believes that this world is a beautiful place to behold, and everyone should have the amazing pleasure of experiencing it in its entirety. She believes that we should live for every single moment that we have here on this planet. I am so honored today to be able to call her to the stage. She has done so much to be able to help the progression of this foundation. She believes in this foundation, and she uses the power of her voice to tell the story of how this foundation can be able to impact others. Please put your hands together and help me welcome to the stage Miss Danielle McKnight.
Make sure I don't trip up these stairs. Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much to Amor for taking the time and effort to put this beautiful event together. I know that she spent countless hours, days, months putting this together, and even then some. I know it's not easy to put together something like this, as well as the foundation. So let's give her a round of applause. She's a beautiful soul, and I know that everybody in this room that knows her knows that. It's been a pleasure for me to be able to get to know her, and she's amazing for allowing me to be a part of this foundation and this family. And I met Amor at my former tattoo shop. She was actually getting tattooed by a coworker of mine, and she found out that I did digital illustration as well as tattooing and commissioned me for the artwork of Monique that you guys see on her card. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm very honored to be able to do that because I know it was a big thing. So I'm very honored to be able to be a part of that in that way, and to share my artwork, you know, not only with her, but the foundation and everybody else who comes across it. But the timing in which we crossed paths was nothing short of the work of the universe bringing us together. I had recently come home from a treatment facility for alcoholism and also depression and anxiety. As a result of that, and after she found out, she actually asked me to be a part of this, and I'm very honored. I've been battling with depression since I was a teenager, and it really began to manifest itself more seriously in the last 3 years or so after a sexual assault. You know, normally that's a really hard thing for people to talk about, but I think that bringing attention to things like that will help survivors and victims be able to, you know, share their story with other people who might be experiencing the same things, and kind of, you know, have an open discussion surrounding things like that. But as a result, I found myself, you know, using drugs, alcohol, and partying to try to cope with that. And at the time, I just told myself, oh, you know, I'm a party girl, let's party, let's get lit, you know, and then everybody else around me thought the same thing, you know. As a few speakers mentioned tonight, a lot of us who are struggling with these things seem like we're very put together on the outside, like we're very strong and fearless, and we're often the people that others come to in their time of need. But you know, you never realize what's going on underneath the surface, which is also why I try to tell people to just be kind to everybody that you come across, because you never know what somebody's going through. That could be their day that they're planning on, you know, ending it all, and maybe polite conversation from a kind stranger could turn all of that around. So I, was using that to kind of drown my trauma by being in, altered states of consciousness. But last year, in May, everything kind of came to a head, and I did try to take my own life. Thankfully, I was unsuccessful at that, and I'm able to stand here in front of all of you today. And I'm also able to stand here today 445 days sober. That was probably the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life, was getting sober. This past year was the first time I've been sober for St. Patrick's Day. So that was kind of a silly, kind of monumental moment, but it meant a lot to me. And as a result, getting sober, I know that now I can do anything. And thank you. As a result of that, I've opened up my own tattoo shop, and I have two other businesses that I'm starting. I'm a part of this beautiful foundation. Once you kind of believe in yourself and you know that you can really, conquer the world. It's hard at first, it really is. And I still have my days. I'm not gonna sit here and say that everything's all sunshine and rainbows all the time, but, it's gotten better. The reason that we're here today is to bring awareness to mental illness. It's something that gets pushed under the rug. It's seen as something to be ashamed about, something that is too sensitive. You don't talk about it at the dinner table, and you don't bring it up because you don't want to, dampen anybody's mood. But it's something that needs to be brought to the forefront. Half of adults in this country will deal with or experience some form of mental illness in their lifetime, mainly depression and anxiety. Suicide is actually the 12th leading cause of death in the United States, and 50,000 Americans died from suicide in 2020 alone, and I'm sure those numbers have unfortunately gone up by now, especially given the pandemic, and just everything that we've all been through in the past couple of years. So with those high numbers, that brings us to the question that, why isn't it being taken more seriously in this country? Why aren't we doing something about it to bring the awareness needed to help people that are struggling with this very common issue? As one of the most developed nations in the world, why are we ignoring something that affects so many Americans? I think that all of us in this room can agree that mental health care is a stigma that has existed for far too long. The shame, the brushing it under the rug, the not having open conversations around it. But if we don't talk about it, then we can't do anything about it. Not talking about it doesn't magically make the problem go away. What it does is make those of us dealing with these things feel helpless, more outcast, and most of all, more invisible. And I know that many of us in this room who've dealt with and struggled with these issues have felt that feeling of invisibility. That why doesn't anyone see my pain? Why don't I matter? But I'm here to tell you that you do matter. Every single person in this room matters, whether you feel like that or not. We all matter, and that's why we all came together here to bring awareness to mental health struggles. And when we bring attention to these issues and take the time to put them at the forefront and start prioritizing them, is when we can truly make a positive change, not only in our immediate communities and families, but for the world at large. And this foundation serves as a literal foundation for which we can build upon to make these things happen. I've been lucky to have a great support system in my struggles with mental health, namely my mom and brother who are here today. Thank you.